My first business, I would sell rent out my dad's porn collection. His VHS porn collection. I was running like a Blockbuster. He had like 6 videos, and I just had like this whole operation. I had a log. I would rewind the movies to the spot
that he left them at.
That he left them at, like his sweet spot, and
sweet spot. Thank you for tuning in to the Austin All Day podcast. I am Jason Powers.
And I am Chef Danny Kiewit.
We have a special episode. It is Hospitality Day.
February the 13th, 213.
Joining us is Casey Hensley. You know him from In the Weeds, Seasoned, and 213. This podcast would not be possible without JBG Organic, Ranch Rider Spirits, Rambler, Meridian Hive, and Choco. Thank you.
Now let's get into Hospitality Day with Casey.
So what's up with this pineapple?
Yeah, so what's the deal with the pineapple?
Oh, the pineapple, man. I love pineapples. Obviously, it became the logo, part of the logo for In the Weeds. What it is the international symbol of hospitality. Contrary to some other myths that are out there, that it's for swingers or whatever, back in the day being like spice trade day. What people would do is, it was very hard to acquire a pineapple. And so if you displayed a pineapple at your gathering, it kind of was an expression to your guests that no expense was spared for their enjoyment. It kind of amplified from that moment into becoming the symbol of hospitality internationally, which you'll see at airports and hotels across the world, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I got pineapple love everywhere.
That is pretty cool.
Pineapple love. All right. Well, welcome to the Austin All Day podcast. Casey, a long overdue, highly anticipated on my end, but welcome.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun conversation.
Are we recording?
We're going.
We are live.
Okay. Well, it's about time, right? It was highly anticipated on my part too. You always kept on asking, when are you going to be on my podcast? When are you going to be on the Austin All Day podcast? And it was never because I didn't want to be on the podcast. As you already know, there's just been a myriad of reasons why I haven't been on yet.
You're busy. You're spread out. You got a lot of things going on. I always understood that.
Yeah, a lot of things going on, and then sometimes I didn't have anything to talk about.
I actually remember telling you about the podcast before the podcast was even a podcast. So we've been talking about it for a good minute. So
yeah,
2 solid years here, and then we've got Danny, the new addition since episode 93. So you've never met him in person, but I'm sure it'll happen sometime.
Hey, well, it's nice to meet you now.
Nice to meet you as well, Danny. Danny boy.
So Casey, I mean, where do you begin? But of course, anybody tuning in, is familiar with Seasoned, familiar with In the Weeds. I guess real briefly, where are you born and raised here in Texas?
Originally, I'm from Pocatello, Idaho.
Idaho, the land of the potatoes.
That's often confused with Iowa or Ohio. Idaho is a hidden gem up north, and we have more than potatoes.
More than potatoes. Nice, but potatoes make some good food.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's one of my favorites.
Were you always from the get-go, like first job in service industry?
Yes. The first job I ever had was a dishwasher. Second job I ever had was a dishwasher. First job I had, let me rewind. My first job, I was a burger flipper in a concession stand
there we go.
at like 13, 14 years old out at the ballpark.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
So I did that, and then I worked for my dad at a tire store. And at the same time in high school, at night, I would go and wash dishes.
Okay. So there's that introduction to the back of the house there, and that little lifestyle that we all know too well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was in Idaho.
Back in Pocatello, Idaho, through high school, through junior high school as well. And after high school, I joined the Navy. And after the Navy, I moved back to Idaho, and my plan was to open a bar. And me and my best friend, while we were in the military, we both decided we were going to open a bar together, and we put together a business plan. And I would tell everyone who would listen, I want to own a bar. And anyone that would read our business plan, I'd share it with them. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I'm bartending at a couple places, Holiday Inn and a place called First National Bar there in Pocatello, Idaho. And I'm bartending for about 2 or 3 years before this one lady comes in and tells me that she's like, "So you're looking to own a bar, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And she was like, "Well, my son just got thrown in prison." Oh, no. and he was running the bar that I don't care about. So if you take over my rent, then I'll just give it over to you. And so I became a bar owner.
Talk about falling right in your lap, right?
It fell. Yeah, I would just say that, this is like the secret, you put it out there and then it comes to you, right?
Danny's always preaching that.
Yeah. Like, if you desire it and you move in that direction and don't like really accept any other option, then it'll come to you eventually.
You manifested it.
Yep. I believe so. She wouldn't have known if I didn't tell everyone that I wanted to be a bar owner. Right. So,
well, what was the name of the bar and how did that work out?
Ended up naming it Flipside Lounge.
Okay.
The reason we named it Flipside Lounge is because we were broke and we didn't want to pay for licensing for music, so we played a bunch of old vinyl records that had no licensing fees attached.
Smart.
So we called it Flipside, like the flip side of the record, right? The B side, flip side. Super cool, like little lounge. It was a beer and wine bar because in Idaho, liquor licenses are treated like real estate. Yeah. And it was too expensive for us to acquire. So we decided, since we are handicapped and we can only be beer and wine, we wanted to be the best beer and wine option for this little town.
Did we have the craft beers on the scene yet?
No, this was back in the 2009, 2010.
Well, okay. So.
And keep in mind, Idaho is, I'll be nice to them and just say a couple years behind national trends, city trends.
Sure.
So we decide to to like be trailblazers in the craft beer movement. And so like when everyone else had, you know, Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, if they were fancy, they had Guinness and Blue Moon and Fat Tire.
Heineken,
right? Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, maybe Heineken, maybe Corona, you know. So, man, this is time machine taking me back.
Time machine.
So we decided to go head first. Yeah. So we decided to go head first into the craft beer scene. We're also really early for Idaho as far as electronic dance music.
Okay.
So we would bring in DJs to play electronic dance music, and where everyone else had like neon signs on the walls, we had art. You know, we had local artists come in and display their pieces, and it was fun, man.
Yeah, taking a unique approach.
I like it.
We wanted to differentiate ourselves, and also we were, you know, cultural of ourselves, and we were desiring that culture that Idaho had not given us.
Did the people of Iowa buy into it?
Idaho.
See?
See, there it goes.
Yeah, man. So we started winning, you know, like the local newspaper awards for like the best bar in town and best place for beer, of course, and best live music, and you know, it was
for attracting something and having it, you know, fall into your lap, so to speak. I mean, you got to be pretty proud when all that stuff is going on. And I'm guessing, retrospect, you learned a lot during that experience.
Oh yeah, you know, when you start with no money and really no experience. I was young. Let's see here. I was about 25, 26 years old when this happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had to learn to do books. I had to learn how to manage my balance, learn how to repair a keg cooler, you know, learn the laws. Sometimes I had to DJ. Sometimes I had to be the door person. Sometimes I had to be the bartender. Trial by fire. I learned a lot.
So you're developing this appreciation for the service industry, playing all these roles.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're starting something completely new that isn't around.
Right. Which is, you know, just story of my life. Like, I've always been marching to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial
spirit.
Yeah, I mean, starting young like that, especially in your prime, you know what I mean? When you get started like that, doing something special, I mean, that kind of paves your path. I mean, because you're not going to be happy, you know, stepping into the 9 to 5 and, you know, clocking out at the end of the day after that.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, I was definitely ready to step out of, you know, the role as business owner for a while after owning that place and selling it. Kind of a funny story. You brought up entrepreneurship, and to go even further back into my early beginnings, my first, and something I've never like said publicly, but actually I think I did this year. Anyways, my first business, I would sell rent out my dad's porn collection, his VHS porn collection. I was running like a Blockbuster. He had like 6 videos, and I just had like this whole operation. I had a log. I would rewind the movies to the spot that
That he left him at?
Right.
that he left him at, like his sweet spot, and
The sweet spot.
and put everything right back where it was, and he never caught wind. And I was probably 11 years old when I started doing that.
Hustling. I like it.
Yeah, what was the going price? Hell, who knows? If you would have stuck in that business, you might have started Pornhub.
Oh man, when I first saw the red boxes, I was like, we need that for porn. And then Pornhub comes along, and that would have been a bad investment.
Oh yeah. We lost you very very briefly there, but the video died.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good though. You're back.
Oh, so you're talking about, okay, yes. The internet took over on streaming porn. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The VHS died.
VHS did die.
Yeah.
But
I bet my dad still has those videos, so
Rewind to the perfect sweet spot.
right. No.
right at the sweet spot.
Yeah, getting started at a young age. So what after the bar, did you sell it? What led you down here?
Well, so when I was in the military, I met a girl and brought her to Idaho with me.
Your current lady?
No,
okay.
My now ex-wife. But so I met her in San Diego, brought her to Idaho. The first time she ever visited Idaho, she was in a Penske truck moving there with a young me, and she was just gonna figure it out. The thing with her is she was definitely a city girl, and she had the small town blues. She wanted the culture as well that was missing in Idaho, and she stuck it out for a good probably 4 or 5 years there in Pocatello. But it all came to a head, and we decided that I would sell the bar, and we would move to Austin, Texas, where a lot of my military friends who had become her friends, they all kind of uprooted to Austin while I went to Idaho. So we decided, we'd come down with all our friends. Austin's a cool city. It's always on, different top 10 lists for, relocating, starting a family, buying a house. Back then, we're talking 2012 time frame.
Right.
So I sold the bar, but I think this, as I tell my story, I think it's important to kind of tell you what was really cool about the small community of bar owners and bartenders of Pocatello, Idaho, which was, we were very tight knit. We had everyone's phone numbers in our phones. We would tell each other, I just had to kick out Bill. He's headed your way, and Susan is trying to find him. Susan being his wife, it was one of those situations where we all looked out for each other. When we would go bar hopping, we would basically pass around the same $20 bill. I'd go to this bar, they'd hook me up, I'd give them a $20 bill, and then later in the evening they would come to my bar, I'd hook them up, and they'd give me my $20 bill back. Nice. And then I'd go to the next spot. It was a fun little community, and yeah,
and that's translated down here a little bit, huh?
The community.
Yes.
Well, it's the reason why I started in the weeds.
Yeah. I'm sure you might be modest about, the statement, but, being here now, and Danny, you've been here long before 2012, but we do have a community, and I feel like maybe not just between bars, but being in the restaurant or just a culinary scene in general, whether it's
Austin scene.
in the Austin scene. Yeah, there is that small community, and you have a giant role to play in that with the beginning of In the Weeds.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I never imagined quite to the level that it has become, that it would become what it is.
What was the first thought? I'm just going to start a Facebook group for service folks? Like, was that?
Yeah.
Casey?
It was in the early days of Facebook groups. Yeah.
Hey, can start that again because it glitched.
Oh man.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what was the initial thought to get it going?
So it was in the early days of Facebook groups, and there was this one group that I was a part of in the early days called Life Behind Bars. And I just thought it was a great name for a community. It's a community for bartenders, bar people.
Sure.
But it was national, right?
Right.
And so there was there was the community in that we're all bartenders, but it wasn't a community as in we look out for each other because we are neighbors,
right.
In fact, it's for the most part, it's just like people slinging poop all over the walls, and just like dragging each other and whatever funny bartender humor.
Sure.
So in my first, where do I go with this story? There's definitely a gap here between me getting to Austin and getting my feet planted and my struggles. I got fired from my first job. Shout out to Dana at Stomping Grounds, who also told me I would never work in the Austin service industry again after he fired me, because basically he hired me and then he hired another person who had a following. And because I didn't know anyone, I couldn't bring that many people in. All I could do was be a good bartender and work hard.
Right.
This other person had people that he could bring in. So
friends, yeah.
He was more. It was more advantageous for Dana to have that other bartender. So I was let go. And then I went and I was a venue manager at Uncle Billy's out on Lake Travis. That's
over there by the Oasis Brewery.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's Oasis Brewery, but back in 2013 timeframe, it was Uncle Billy's. It was like a 2-floor barbecue restaurant, and I ran the 3rd floor. It was on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and I ran the 3rd floor music venue. And man, that was another trial by fire. Try to figure out how to run a music venue and sell tickets and have a VIP, and also, sell food and explain your beer while, Del Castillo is on stage. It's crazy.
And that room up there probably hasn't changed too much. It's like all like cramped together in the space, so it's pretty loud in there, probably, huh?
Well, we had indoors and outdoors. Like when it would rain out there, we would try to move everyone indoors. One time we had to put Billy Gibbons indoors and we had like 800 tickets sold.
Wow.
And you've been there, Danny, and That's too many people.
That's a lot of people in that space.
That's a lot of people in that space. But yeah, every day was like it was a different struggle. It was another trial by fire learning experience, and I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Eventually, Uncle Billy's went out of business, or they closed down that lake location and just kept their Barton Springs location. And right around this time is when I had some free time and I created In the Weeds. I just thought it was a generic. Did you lose me again?
No. I got you. No, I was sorry. I was interrupting. I was just saying. So, had you met a fair amount of people that you could start In the Weeds and like, hey, join here, or like how did that go? Were you talking to people about it, or you just came up with the idea?
Well, I was hung up on the name for quite a while. Like I wanted to name it something. I didn't want to call it like the service industry group. I wanted it to be something relatable and kind of like universal to everyone that works in the hospitality industry. And being in the weeds is kind of that universal phrase that we specifically, everyone uses it, but we in the service industry, like,
it's a nightly ritual.
Yeah,
that's a moment.
Yeah,
that's a moment of reckoning for us.
Sure.
That you'll never forget your first time being in the weeds, right? The worst weeds that you can think of. Right. So I named it, and yes, we did have a large employee pool out there at the lake. So,
okay. That helped.
I had all these friends that we communicated online. I added them to the group, and we just it was kind of like the Uncle Billy's group in the weeds at first. And then we decided to have like a launch party and just kind of see where it goes. I just kept on encouraging everyone, like, you guys know more people than I do. Add your friends and let's try and create a community. And this isn't just for bartenders or servers. This is for cooks. This is for dishwashers. If you're hotel workers, venue owners, bar owners, restaurant owners, this is for everyone. This is our industry, the hospitality industry, the service industry. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted it to be.
And so that's what you want it to be. And what are you wanting it to? What are you wanting to come out of it? All these guys are going to join in there. The cooks, the line cooks, the servers, the bartenders, the restaurateurs, whoever it may be, the busboy. What's the goal of having In the Weeds at that time?
Well, going back to Pocatello, Idaho. I appreciated our close-knit community, and we were all kind of big fish in a small pond type of situation. And I moved here and I was nobody, and I was a small fish in a huge pond, and everyone was very disconnected and cliquey. So I wanted to break down those barriers and put everyone in one spot to be able to communicate. And ultimately, improve our industry.
Well, yeah, if anybody's moving to Austin, right, the immediate thing you say is, we'll get on In the Weeds or download Seasoned. Like, that's where you need to be. I mean, you have people joining the group before they've even moved, getting work and getting tips of where to go.
We have to be. It has to be one of the probably top 5 service industry groups on Facebook nationally, to my knowledge. Like, I'm in quite a few different national groups.
Sure.
Like Chicago service industry is huge. For example, there's a few out there that are, similar to In the Weeds. Maybe not as cool of a name,
So is that name like copywritten now?
Oh, is it? I don't remember if I ever copywrote it. No, I never got it trademarked. No,
trademarked.
I did get 213. Yeah.
Oh, 213. Okay, which we'll get into the
Yeah.
because I'll tell you on the Birth of the Austin All Day podcast, I had a list of names and I was like, In the Weeds is so good. In the Weeds, but you can't, right? Like, there's so much crossover. Yeah, but and I was like, I don't know. That's Casey's. That's his stomping ground.
Yeah, you told me that, and there's been In the Weeds pop-ups, groups and different pages pop up over the years, and it's just like, like the person I am, I reach out to him and be like, yo, like, I'm running with this. I got a logo, and we got a good thing going on. To avoid confusion, do you mind changing your name? I've been doing this since,
2013.
2013.
And I guess you just touched on it. You've got a logo. I mean, so since then, yes, it's become a very utilitarian tool for service industry folks here locally and even moving here. But also you've grown it into a brand where you have some swag and you've set up events and it's fun. And the community pre-pandemic, it's to get together and hang out and meet each other. Yeah.
I miss that so much, man. Like, the weird thing about events is I hate, like, putting them on and producing them, but afterwards it's so rewarding. Like, bringing people together, like everyone having a good time. I just stress out like way too much when it comes to these events that I've thrown, but it's like a good stress. Like, it's for good reason.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Are you an introvert or are you social butterfly?
It depends. Back when I was in my early bartending days, I got in trouble for not talking enough to customers. So I think I was kind of introverted or lacking confidence. And so I took that, feedback from the owner. He wants me to talk more to customers. So I started talking more to customers. And at this point, I get in trouble for talking too much to customers.
You can't win.
It's like, I literally have gotten in trouble for like focusing on the customers in front of me rather than, cutting it short or being somewhat rude and putting a finger up and saying, I got to go, So, the introvert, I think I'm a trained introvert that knows how to be extrovert, out of kind of necessity.
Yeah. That's, I think I'm similar. And I also think Danny's similar. And I think that's a good thing to have. Like, you recharge, alone, but when you can get out there and communicate, you need to. So, appropriate to ask or not, I don't know. You don't have to answer. Did In the Weeds like monetize in a way from the following, or was it just from being branded? Because I know we transitioned to eventually seasoned.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about kind of the ramp up, if you will. We started doing events, and we ended up doing our first event called Rejuvenate and Rage, which was a post South by, get your mind and body right event for service industry. and that ended up blowing up, and that's kind of the catalyst where the requests started coming in by the dozens, or just like it became like an everyday conversation community. That was really the moment. So in the early days, I made a little bit of money off of creating these events. Just it was kind of I should try to at least offset my costs, and if I make money, great, and that was basically the goal.
So it was
and
you started to make a little money, but you just wanted to break even.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't going to be a moneymaker. It wasn't going to be my livelihood.
Right.
I was never going to charge membership or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it took over my life. Like, a community never sleeps, and I'm around the clock trying to put out fires, trying to get people to play nice with each other, approving, disapproving different posts. And then planning events, and like really on a mission to improve the lives of people in the hospitality industry. And by the way, like, my area of focus was community, positivity, and education. So long as I was working on those three things, then our community would improve overall, exponentially. So I'm basically working for this community around the clock for free, and it's always been still would be something that I would do for free. But because of our numbers, I decided to take a stab at seeing what sponsors would pay to be endorsed by myself and the community and have certain privileges that non-sponsors wouldn't get. And Toast was actually my first sponsor. Shout out to John Morrow.
Wow.
With Toast, he ended up spending his whole year's budget, which was only like $2,500 at the time, on sponsoring In the Weeds for a year.
Wow, that's a leap of faith, right?
Yeah, like he's just like, there's something here. If I align with In the Weeds, I think this is the best use of my marketing dollars as possible.
That's awesome.
So, and he was the lone Toast salesman here in Austin. So we go for it, and it's a great relationship. Now Toast has like over 20% market share in the Austin restaurant and bar community. So I'd say it was a great investment for Toast. And that was, the first sponsor dollars, the first time I was able to make a little bit of money for all the time that I was putting into this community.
Well, I'll tell you, you said putting out fires left and right, because a lot of times people looking in the weeds and they think we're all having fun, right? We're service industry, we're joking around, maybe there's memes up there. But you take it to a pretty serious level. Like you try and spread awareness of things you believe in. I mean, constantly posting things, on your own personal page as well as in the weeds currently. So that's not changed, even though season came along, and you're out of the role of in the weeds, yes, or you're partners. You're an ally.
I'm an ally, but I'm just an advocate for the health and happiness of the hospitality industry.
Well, and look what's come. Not to interrupt, but we've got herd.org. We got Ben's Friends. I mean, all these things are kind of similar. Like spreading the mental health aspect of it and the sobriety aspect if you need that. I mean, and a lot of these guys, right? They meet on in the weeds.
Mm-hmm. Community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to say what the exact impact of this community, like what it's actually turned out, like how many business partners have met through In the Weeds, how many employees, how many people have gotten their dream job or whatever, how many people have met their future mother or father of their children and whatever because of this group, because it's been around now for 8 years,
Yeah. Well, it is hard to say, but I'm a pretty I don't know. I put my my money on it's had a pretty large impact. And that small town feel from Idaho, maybe that has something to do with it here because whenever I go out and I feel part of a community, and it feels great. And we're having fun here at Austin all day, right? We're always bringing people in, just kind of like we want to have a good time. But it sounds like you've got some bigger fish to fry than just sit around and having fun sometimes.
Yeah. So the thing is the community is whatever you need it to be. That's what the members see it. Sometimes
it's a beautiful thing to have it like that. It's what you need.
Yeah. Some people look at it, as you said, for the memes and, crude humor and, a spot to vent. Other people look at it as a tool that they can hire people or find work. Some people look at it as where
a place to post their latest episode of a podcast.
Yeah. It's a market for getting the word out about your products or services,
Well, I think what's beautiful is like everybody enjoys a good meme. Like, you just go over here, just grow up and put cilantro and onion on your taco already. All right, I can have fun with that meme, right? You scroll through, if everything's peachy, you can do that. But then if you need something and you lose your job and you need to find another gig, guess what? You're not looking at the memes. You're using it utilitarian as a tool, and it's there for you to be happy, or it's there for you to get to work. Or like you said, if you're just getting on there and using it for one thing or another, and that's what kind of makes it beautiful.
Right. What people don't account for is the fact that, to me, it's a mission, and it's a mission to improve the lives of people in this community that I care for with great passion. So
you can see that too with all the dedication and hard work you put into it. You put your life into this thing.
Yeah.
It's honestly it became my true north. As people, you hope to find your passion in life so that you can move towards that passion, and it has become what service I want to provide this world, what my legacy will eventually say, is that I helped a lot of people, specifically people that were, vulnerable and disorganized and disconnected. And, whereas we've always been resourceful and had each other's backs, nobody has really had our backs. Yeah. So in order to improve upon our lives, to me, the answer is coming together and solving problems together. Yeah. It's a hard thing to to do, because every like economics and politics, every action has a adverse reaction, and when you're trying to make owners happy and so that they will make their employees happy, it's what you fight for is really hard to dissect.
Sure. And if there's anybody who does need help, I mean, I guess we could transition into the fact that the hat you're wearing, which some folks can't see, 213, the day that this is airing, I mean, that's a hell of a wage to be receiving for the work some of these guys are putting in, or gals.
Yeah. Another 213, for those who don't know, that might be listening to this that are not aware, that's the federal tipped minimum wage. And Texas is one of only 16 states that still adheres to this federal minimum wage and has not initiated a raise, a higher minimum, like all these other states have. Whether it's some states, it's $3.50 an hour. It's still better than the bare minimum that the federal government hasn't changed since 1991. So a lot of these people that they're very surprised when they say, "Oh, I was bartending back in the 90s, and that's what I made per hour."
Yeah,
that's still the wage. Yeah. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's crazy.
So in talking about 213, I tried to kind of bring awareness to the fact that we make 213 and we're dependent on your tips. That was one answer. It was a bipartisan answer to me, that it wouldn't hurt owners and it wouldn't hurt employees to raise awareness that we employees make $2.13 an hour. So be kind with your tipping.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I set out to do this awareness campaign. I created swag, that said 213. I have a hat on. Since this isn't on video, I do have a hat on that says 2.13, and we created bumper stickers and made them look like those marathon.
Yeah.
26.3 or 13.1 or whatever.
0.
And if you know,
0.0.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people
exactly.
are going to recognize that, and they're going to be, I know exactly what that is.
I've played with that concept of if you know, you know.
Yeah.
In basically everything, in the weeds, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
213, if you know, you know.
Sure. I mean, it's lingo. It's fucking industry lingo, for sure.
It's funny because
we do speak our own language.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Heard.
Yeah, heard, behind, hot, coming through.
All day.
Burn you and laugh.
It's funny because during the first section of this talking about In the Weeds, I was like, I hope we explained clear enough. It's a Facebook group. You have to request to join. You have to kind of say where you work, right?
But I think it's become more than a group.
We're speaking our own language, though.
I mean, you've done something very, very cool for the industry. You know what I mean? You've created a sounding board, right? And also a place where you said that you could, inform, inspire, and improve.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Happy to have done it and that it worked out so well, and it continues on.
I mean, and it's a way to so especially during this time that we've gone through over this last year, it's been a place for this community to get together to have something to hold on to, because everybody's locked in their houses.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I've taken this, I've been unemployed since May, and I've taken everything very seriously. my girlfriend Marissa's parents, who she loves dearly and likes to see often, they're immunocompromised. So I have to walk the walk and talk the talk, walk the walk. When it comes to this virus, like I was the weirdo in the early days wearing a mask in Target when no one else was wearing a mask, and so where I'm getting at with that is like the internet and Facebook has like been my outlet because I've been relatively isolated since last March.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad that people can socialize and get out their frustrations or get help or access to resources or anything through this community that we built.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to rewind. We could rewind a little bit because now we're kind of talking about, I don't know, where do you want to go, man?
Well, I mean, Hospitality Day is today because this is airing today. And tell us a little bit about it. Like, ideally, what will we be doing on this day for hospitality? Just bringing awareness?
I have been reaching out to the governor in years past, and reaching out to him every, December or so. I reach out to him and I ask him to declare February 13th, aka 213, to be Hospitality Industry Appreciation Day. And every year he's granted my request and sent me the official document of declaration, which has like some awesome, compliments to the industry and, accolades that our industry represents, which is great. And over the years, we've had press releases and we've gotten newspaper articles put out there to the ether and stuff like that, which raises awareness for the overall cause of 213. And this year, obviously, has been extremely different than every other year. With 213 coming up tomorrow, we decided to be a little bit more online focused and come up with a couple initiatives that we would like that will move the needle of the hospitality industry in a positive direction while also raising awareness. And if you want, I'll tell you about the initiatives that we have planned, or do you have any questions?
No, please tell us about the initiatives. I want to hear.
Okay, so what I really, the easiest, coolest thing that I could ask people to do is, if you make a dismal paycheck, maybe $213 per hour, or, if your paychecks end up coming to a zero net check, or, that we're accustomed to, what I want you to do is take a screenshot or a photo of your pay stub and post it to your wall and let people know, like, this is my paycheck.
Okay.
On 213.
Well, this is today.
That's today.
For the folks listening.
Today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I want people to post a picture. Obviously, X out any personal information. X out your employer so you don't lose your job.
Yeah.
But I think if enough people do this, then it will have that virality, if you will,
Ripple effect.
Yeah, it'll snowball into something bigger. And what we're trying to do is get attention here.
Yes.
Attention to the fact that we're in an expensive city, Austin, Texas, and we make $2.13 per hour. And I think nobody makes $2.13 an hour. So I'll dispel that myth. We're going to make at least $7.25 per hour, but it's dependent on people's gratuity, their tipping, which pays our bills, which is, in my opinion, not how it should be necessarily.
Right. Well, yeah, tipping is rooted in, isn't it rooted in racism? And we did a whole series.
Yeah, we did a whole series, The History of Tipping. Yeah. And it goes back to, pre-Civil War. Yes.
So the Chinese delivery, they don't do any tips, and for good reason. Anyone should Google the history of tipping is what you should do.
Yes. Everyone should educate themselves on tipping, but I also don't want it to end. Hell, I wouldn't have started any of this if it wasn't for tipping, because I knew that as an entrepreneur, I knew the harder I worked and the better I was at my job, the more money I would make. Right. And I could do that in less time so that it would afford me the opportunity to work on my entrepreneurial projects, right? Mm-hmm. So I love the tipping culture. I love taking care of people that serve you, right?
Gratuitous.
Yep. So with that being said, hopefully people post on their social media their zero net checks, throw up some hashtags like Hospitality Industry Appreciation Day, hashtag 213 Day, hashtag zero net check, whatever.
Sure.
And just kind of express in your own way why you're sharing that.
It's to bring awareness. It's to bring awareness to the world of what it is to work in the service industry. Not everybody knows it.
What I think is important is that everyone kind of chooses how why this is important to them, to share their pay stub with other people, Mm-hmm. That's how we get across the aisle for other people to understand, is express ourselves so that we can have a discussion.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what I want. Open the dialogue.
Let's make that happen. And, let's put it out there. It's out there, right?
Everything can be solved with a conversation.
There you go.
Yep.
That's very true.
Absolutely.
What other initiatives are you all working on?
So we have a petition where we want people to sign them.
You can find this where?
Let's see here. We have a change.org.
Change.org.
It's on change.org. I don't have because of the media that we're talking on, it's hard to share links especially when they're all broken up.
Well, all this stuff will be linked in the description of this podcast. So,
anyway, I'll get you those links.
That'd be great.
And get also on the mailing list for change.org too.
Yeah. Also, everything is on In the Weeds.
In the Weeds.
So,
of course.
So if you're a member of the group, if you meet the criteria to become a member, if you're not already, all this information that I'm going to talk about is on In the Weeds.
Yeah, I got it right here. Sign the petition. You got the ATX Service Industry Wage Transparency Project, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's the next thing. So we have that petition. Specifically, the petition is to raise in our local municipality where Austin is very expensive. We want to raise the tip to minimum to $7.25 per hour. Not to do away with the idea of the tip credit, but just to bring it up to a level that at least covers your taxes.
Yeah, because at the end of the year, most of these service industry people, unless they have put part of it into the bank, are going to have a big balloon payment for their taxes.
100%. That's if you take nothing else from this. That is why I want to increase the minimum wage. I've encouraged owners to do this on their own free will because there's been nothing to hold them back. And there's been some trailblazers that have, they've valued people more than numbers, and they've paid more than the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more people that have kept it at 213 so that they can, they figure because of tips, like it's enough or whatever. But at the end of the year, these guys have to pay their taxes, and they have a, when you have a zero net check, chances are you claimed more money in tips than your
tax.
Federal withholdings, and so you have a deficiency. And at the end of the year, that really adds up. And these people have to they have to decide whether to file their taxes, whether to go get a predatory loan so they can pay their taxes or their rent or whatever. It's just unfortunate, and I think we could do better.
Of course we can.
Yeah,
and I think that the voters of Austin, I'm optimistic in that they would feel the same way, and they would rather know that the people serving their food and cooking their food and everything is better taken care of.
Yeah.
In a better place than they were today.
So this is bringing awareness to everybody about the current situation.
Right.
Yep. This is a petition that it's attention grabbing. Like, it's not a bill. If we get their attention, hopefully we'll be able to communicate with our local figures and write up bills to move in this new direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, please sign that petition if that's something you can get behind. And the last thing is I feel transparency is the foundation for, trust. And we have a survey where people can anonymously, I say a lot, by the way. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm self-conscious about it, but I can't stop it, so it is what it is. Anyways, we have this transparency survey, and you can anonymously take the survey, and you can report kind of
Click on it.
where you work and how much money you make per hour, and then what your average is on tips. And you can kind of leave a review.
This is a good data collection device, huh?
We're collecting anonymous data pretty much, so that people can understand their worth, so that employers can understand where they rank in the grand scheme of things. And hopefully, honestly, it's easy to focus on the negative, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully people are, want to take this and brag about the people that are doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
The Leslies of the world, Bolden Creek, the Philip Spears, the Fiore Tedesco, people that are trailblazers. Let's make a positive example of them by bragging about them, so that other people can follow.
Commodore, Locodora, we love them.
I like it. That's a good idea. Like highlight the good, and hopefully people will lean towards that side more.
Yeah, if you're angry about it, then you have something to hide.
Yeah,
then you're not running an operation with integrity Yeah.
And what a time for this too. I mean, with the rebuilding of the service industry as it is, and to be able to highlight the good in it. I mean, this is a great time for it.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, it's like I said, it's easy. It's low hanging fruit to knock people and be negative.
Oh yeah, we've seen that.
It's easier to do the wrong thing than to do the right thing.
I mean, remember the Whelp 512? Did you see that? The Whelp 512?
Yeah.
I mean, that came at the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, when people were like hurting the most.
It blew up, and not gonna lie, that was an inspiration to this project.
Okay.
We had to figure out a way to keep it anonymous so that people would be safe and truthful. So we take on this information and don't require anyone to put their personal information in, so that we can be the curators of this information, this data, and allow everyone to view it.
But yours is focused. Yours is focused on a certain aspect of, commitment to this career.
Yeah, wage. Yeah,
exactly. It's why you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get off the Whelp thing. It disappeared for a reason, but it was kind of very open-ended to say whatever you wanted.
That's what it was, yeah.
A little sketchy grounds there. I think that's why we don't see it anymore.
I like the focus that you're doing on this, and you have a reason for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of serendipitous, but we have like 200. We have exactly 213 people that have filled it out so far.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the other day I weighed myself and I was 213. So
there you go.
So anybody
silver lining?
You've been on like a fitness journey, yeah?
Yeah.
And you you did one 30-day stretch with your lady some months or a couple months back, and now you're doing it again?
Back in, I think, June, I did a 60-day challenge, and it was loosely based off of something called 75 Hard. I kind of just set my own parameters, but, with the inspiration of 75 Hard, I was working out twice a day, eating really balanced and portion meals and stuff like that.
Were you not working out at all before that, or just casually?
I like it casual. I've always liked running. Working out releases dopamine, and when you do it, it feels great. When you don't, it sucks, So I've always enjoyed working out. And,
get those endorphins moving.
I'm down 35 pounds, I think, right now.
Right.
So I'm in the process. I'm rounding. Thank you.
KC.
Thank you.
That's very good, man. That's
I'll clap for myself. We are doing our second 60-day challenge right now. We're in like week 6, so we only have like 2 weeks left. And
then what happens at the end? Pizza, beer, ice cream.
That's how it was last time, and I gained a good amount of weight back, but I continued to work out, which has been great. So at the end of this, I just want to kind of re-up and maybe take a couple days off, not, a couple months off of eating, or what fuels my body, if you will, maybe have a drink, because I haven't drank in quite a while. So
right. Yeah. No, I know that there's ways you can ease yourself back into like coming off a diet, so you don't completely balloon right back up and have to start again in a month or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It's just, it's something to focus on right now. Like I need projects. I need to do something, and the number one thing that I can focus on right now is myself. So
well, also,
I'm just trying to be the best that I can be.
Oh, I'm sure you're also referring to the fact that, I mean, keeping your immune strong right now. I mean, for your girlfriend's parents and whatnot, and I mean, it's always a good thing to do. Taking care of your body, mind, spirit.
There you go.
So on to something else that we mentioned the other day was lifted spirits. This
Yes,
I've
sir.
not heard of at all. What is this?
Cool. So another project that has come about in my years of running in the weeds, there was always this idea that maybe I turn it into a nonprofit, right? And try to run it as such, a nonprofit to help the service industry.
Nonprofit to help the service industry.
Yeah, I'm just giving you like a vague, like it's been an idea, and people have come to me left and right with ideas like, A, you should unionize, B, you should start a nonprofit. These people have came to me with every idea under the sun, but nonprofit kept on coming up, and one guy in particular who I admire for his energy and his passion to the service industry, similar to mine, and his name is Diego Batista.
Okay.
He really wanted to start a nonprofit to help solve the insurance problem. And, a lot of people wanted us to kind of be like Ham, where, we offer insurance to the service industry. And I swear, Diego, he tried everything. Like, he was talking to Blue Cross Blue Shield, trying to talk about putting together a policy for the service industry, and the sort of money that it would require is astronomical. And also, what separates Ham from everyone else is they're kind of grandfathered into their position, so that the rules today don't apply to them. And whereas we were on the cusp of, Obamacare versus Trump's, whatever care, or anti-Obamacare, and the whole industry was just like, we don't know how to write a policy for the service industry.
Yeah.
So that's a long-winded way of saying, like, we hit a roadblock, but Diego pushed through. And when the pandemic hit, we decided to stop with the insurance thing and just try and formalize a nonprofit that will benefit the hospitality industry. And with his help and my own and a couple other volunteers, back in May-ish, maybe even March-ish, I can't remember exactly, but we started applications for a 501c3 nonprofit called Lifted Spirits, and our program will be to offer assistance, provide assistance for basic needs for hospitality workers experiencing crisis.
I see that.
As well as we want to offer interest-free microloans to people that are just a little bit short. So, and basically a rainy day fund for the hospitality industry, and some of those basic needs that we want to help people with. It's a gray area because you got to decide what's basic or whatever, but housing, transportation, food, some bills, some doctor visits, maybe. What else do we got? We got maybe internet nowadays is basic. But we have very specific criteria for what we deem as a crisis. And if you don't fall under that in crisis situation, but you need help, we want to offer free microloans, somewhere around like $250 that you can pay back whenever you are able, So.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And how is it going so far?
We haven't. The IRS has until March.
It's inception right now.
Okay. We can't. Currently, in good faith, we can fundraise because in good faith we will become a profit.
Yeah,
but
you will become a nonprofit.
We will,
okay.
And it's just I could only imagine how many nonprofits have spurred up because of the pandemic and for whatever reason, the IRS has 180 days from application. That's a half a year. So we put that application in, and the 180 days is up in March. So We're almost there. And we should have our answer here shortly. And we've already started fundraising.
Yeah, I see the website. We're on the website right now.
Website,
it looks great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Liftedspirits.org.
Yes, liftedspirits.org.
Which will also be in the description of this. And like anybody, I'm almost assuming listening to this is going to be interested in the Hospitality Day. Obviously in the weeds, and then this, of course, yeah.
And you can go in and donate right now if you'd like.
Yeah, you can go donate. We're trying to accept all sorts of money from any method. You have PayPal, you have Cash App, you have Venmo. You just want to use your Stripe account. Hopefully someday we're accepting Bitcoin and all
and that's
that.
Cool. You have you just go in there and take a picture with your phone, and you go directly to the donation site.
Yes,
making it easy for people. I like it.
I think we'll start encouraging folks to get on there and do that for you.
Specifically, what would be great is for people that want to help or learn more is to kind of reach out to us through. You could reach out to me through social media, go through the website. And what we really want to do is start putting donation table tents in participating businesses on their tables, or, a poster outside of their bathroom or on their front door, basically saying, if you want to help the service industry, here's one way that you could do it. You can provide an extra tip to the rainy day fund, which Lifted Spirits is managing.
Like they do at the grocery store. When they do it at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Or QR
we
code.
We need to get bells for people.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Every time they donate. Ring, ding, ding. We got a donator.
Yeah.
Or it should say, heard that.
Now, I think just Chef Philly, right? Or Locador. They'd be into that without question.
Hopefully. Hopefully they reach out. Hopefully maybe me explaining this to you, new guests, you can kind of educate on Lifted Spirits. And I'm looking forward to people reaching out and wanting to get involved.
Well, what you're doing is great, and I really cool. Like the name.
It is I like the play on words.
It's great,
there.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always. Right? Lifted Spirits. We're lifting people's spirits. When we go to a bar, we
cheers.
Yeah, lift the spirit.
We lift our spirits, and we're I think it's a cheesy name, but we call those who are in our network helping others spirit lifters.
Yeah.
So
Cheesy name, cheesy gold. It's cheesy gold.
yeah, yeah.
No, I like everything you're doing right now, and I think this, as far as this being a episode of Austin All Day, is like a very educational, informative, and for a good cause.
Yeah, totally.
In many ways. What you're doing, Casey, is it's always been awesome. We've wanted to have you on here for forever, 2 years now. We get you on here. We get all this information. I got to say, you're welcome to come back anytime. We'd love to have you physically in this studio.
I would love that.
The vaccine
Once I
goes
get,
around and all the stuff and things.
I'm on the list, man.
Good.
I'm excited. I've considered being one of those vaccine hunters where they show up at vaccine centers and they wait around for extras because at the end of the day, if people no call, don't show up for their appointment, if they're there, they can ask for if there's any extra vaccines to give. And a couple of my friends have hunted their vaccines down, and now they're vaccinated. So
Oh,
I've thought about it, but I haven't done it.
Well, maybe consider
It would. Yeah.
So there's two things. There's two things now that we really like to focus on towards the end of this podcast. Number one, potty talk.
Potty talk. Where's your favorite bathroom in town?
You
Okay,
can't say Bucky's.
so-
Can't say Bucky's.
Can I say my own? Because
Well, you
I
have-
pride myself. I pride myself on my toilets. I got a squatty potty. I have
A bidet.
I have motion sensor lights. I have a bidet.
Oh, nice.
Like I have the Cadillac of toilets, and everyone else is like I don't like smearing my poop, and so I don't like to go to the bathroom in public unless I'm at Bucky's, of course.
There you go.
Great answer. Cool. All right. And then that's completely acceptable.
It's fair.
What about your favorite spots to eat here in Austin, Texas, pre-pandemic, and also nowadays, whatever works? I know you're not going out, so you're probably ordering stuff.
Yeah, your
occasionally.
delivery, whatnot.
Oh gosh. So I'm a huge fan of this place here in Pflugerville called Iron Fish.
Okay.
It's a sushi restaurant, very in an unassuming strip mall attached to an HEB up here in Pflugerville. And honestly, Pflugerville's kind of a food desert.
It is.
By the way, I live in Pflugerville, so when I found Iron Fish, I've really attached myself. I've never been the type of person to become like a regular anywhere because I'm always wanting to try new things, right? And have new experiences. But this Iron Fish place is legit. Back when I lived more central, Biscuits and Groovy is a rad food trailer on near South Lamar area.
Okay.
It's biscuits and gravy, just how
Yummy.
how I like it. Let's see here.
That sounds good right now.
Biscuits and gravy would rule right now.
It's like 10 degrees outside.
Right.
Comfort.
And Juliet is a nice little restaurant, and they've always been a great support.
They're opening a new one up at Arbor Trails. Oh, I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm sorry. Gateway. The Gateway area.
Awesome.
A little closer to you.
Good for them. Yeah,
It is relatively closer to you. Yeah.
that'll be appreciated. Yeah, they're great for barbecue. I like blacks
Yeah.
here in town.
Good suggestions. Good suggestions. Always
Thank you.
curious. Yeah. those are
I mean,
those are the only two formal questions of this podcast. Now,
okay.
there used to only be one until last one.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have potty talk with Casey.
We're actually gonna do a fun little series during May. We're gonna highlight barbecue for a barbecue month.
Yeah.
Very cool. Who do you have signed on so far?
HBQ, Ryan at HBQ. We've got J&L, Ben, down by the Buzz Mill.
Leroy and
Lewis, Evan. Is that everybody that we've got signed up?
I think we might have one more. We've got a couple of really cool ideas on the books.
Oh, Yoni's kicking off the
with Best
podcast
Barbecue.
with Best Barbecue. We're going to get his, his expertise in this field to kick off the month of May. And hopefully, I'll just put it out there. No, I can't.
Don't put it out there.
I can't put it out there. I'll tell you.
It's going to be cool. Yeah. We'll
Just
tell you in a
stay
second.
tuned, folks. It should be a good month. Follow it up.
Sounds good.
Follow it up with the Taco Mafia.
One. Yeah, that's a cool little concept you guys are working on, and I hope what you put to the ether to me, I hope it comes to fruition for you guys, because it sounds pretty groovy. I like that attitude. That's exactly what you need.
That's right.
I do realize now that we're wrapping things up, we kind of glossed over quite a the money making parts of In the Weeds, kind of, and how it kind of what it is today and stuff.
Yeah, sponsorship still. I mean, what is there?
Well, I don't know if you want to.
Sure. No, we can dive into it for a
Let's hear it.
second. Yeah.
All right.
Ears.
Well, so I left off. We were talking about sponsorships, and my first sponsor was
Toast,
and then my sponsors just kind of ramped up a little bit.
Good.
The criteria for the sponsors was that they had to be someone that I would actually vouch for.
Mm-hmm.
So we
feel you there.
I had to believe in their product. There was a lot of people that I turned down because I didn't believe. They were just like they wanted to capitalize on this market, but they were not people that I wanted to align myself with.
Right.
So for a couple of years, I was making money off of sponsorships and doing events and T-shirt sales and stuff like that. Eventually, it became my full-time job.
I always pictured KC like when I would get on In the Weeds or like request to post something, like just sitting there. Especially because if you message you'd like immediately respond. I was like, he's just sitting with a laptop like at a coffee shop, just like banging out. That was like my vision. I was like, I don't know what he's doing, but
dude, for better for worse, I'm attached to my phone and the internet or whatever, and especially when I was moderating In the Weeds, every time I went on vacation, I had to make sure I had Wi-Fi or some data or whatever, because I'm on vacation managing a community, and so I can never really tune out. So I'm very responsive. If you reach out and I don't respond in a timely manner, it stresses me out.
yeah.
So
that's a good trait to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing this for a while, and Texas Restaurant Association asked me to moderate a panel at the Texas Restaurant Association trade show a few years back. And we put together the very first in Texas Restaurant Association history panel led by employees. Obviously, TRAs people they serve is the restaurant owners. They're great for the hospitality industry. They want the health of the industry. Sometimes because they are owner first, they a lot of their policies have to first take care of the owners, and as a byproduct to a healthy industry, hopefully that kind of trickles down. I don't. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'll just leave it at that. I have a good relationship with TRA. I think everyone needs to be together. But anyways, they asked me to do this panel, and I do this panel to a full audience. Everyone was intrigued by what the employees had to say, and it was a pretty cool concept. Basically, it was the question that we were answering is what makes me stay.
What makes what, Casey?
What makes me stay? What makes me stay? Like, what makes me stay at a restaurant for an extended period of time? And so we had a packed house, and a company called Seasoned was in attendance and had a booth right next to the stage. And so they listened to everything I said and basically approached me, and they're like, I don't know what it is, but we need you. How would you feel if we gave you the resources and the team necessary to take what you're doing within the weeds and do it on a huge scale? And so at that point in time, I started considering the idea of working with this other company and adding fuel to the fire. And basically what I had to consider was, do I want to make a huge impact, or do I want to keep this little and focused on Austin? Mm-hmm. So it's not a decision that I regret, but I decided to go with making the bigger splash and joining Seasoned. In order to join Seasoned, we had to go through an acquisition so that I could be an employee of theirs, because we really wanted to move people. We wanted to create an app similar to what In the Weeds is on Facebook, but on our own platform. We wanted to create our own sandbox for the hospitality industry.
Separated from Facebook, right?
Separated from Facebook and their rules, and just something dedicated to the hospitality industry. Okay. So we did go through an acquisition. They acquired the brand In the Weeds and the group. And
Seasoned is out of where?
Basically out of here. They were kind of a derivative of Hot Schedules.
Oh, okay.
Like Hot Schedules wanted to help people with jobs, and
I remember that.
So Hot Schedules had like Hot Schedules Recruit, and then Recruit became Seasoned. And the way I took it, basically, the last thing our industry needed was another job board. So they looked to In the Weeds, and they're like, this is what we need. We need community, and as a byproduct, we can offer jobs, a better solution for jobs. Mm-hmm. So we set out to create a community, and as a byproduct, jobs, and posting, revolutionizing the job transaction would be how we made money.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we were doing.
So now
It's
In the
it's
Weeds
not
is seasoned.
Yeah, well, In the Weeds is In the Weeds, but it's run by Seasoned. It's owned by Seasoned. For 2 years that I'm off on my math probably, but around 2 years I was the moderator and community manager for Seasoned. So I was moderating the community on behalf of Seasoned, as well as trying to help them create this application so that we can eventually move off of Facebook into a better Facebook, basically. Obviously, it's a uphill climb. It's not easy to recreate Facebook or what people expect from Facebook on your own platform.
Right.
So they're still building, and I wholeheartedly want them to be successful. I feel like if they succeed, then our industry will also succeed.
Right.
So, whereas they are a for-profit business, they need to make money, they are very well intended. And I know that for a fact. They put their money where their mouth is. We get together every week and we try to, we're basically a little committee of volunteers trying to find solutions to better the industry, which has nothing to do with getting people to download the app or anything. It's just trying to find solutions to help the industry.
Sure.
Sounds like a cool thing to be part of.
Well, and I see the hurdle because from personal experience, when it was, hey, download Seasoned, I was like, wait, I'm a creature of habit. I like getting on In the Weeds, right?
We all are, man.
Yeah.
The thing with Seasoned is people will download it and use it once it becomes habit or a necessary tool that replaces what they get from the Facebook group.
Right.
So
but most everything that's on the Facebook group, or is it not that way? You can post just to the In the Weeds Facebook and it won't show up on Seasoned.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, I kind of created a monster within the Weeds because people, for better, people were logging on, like our daily active users and monthly active users were insane.
I think we're on In the Weeds right now.
Yeah, the people getting on there, it literally became a habit. Like daily, they were checking in, and so I created this monster in that I created too good of a tool. Whereas, say we went to Birmingham, Alabama, and with Seasoned, and they didn't have a Facebook group. I think Seasoned the app would be revolutionary for them.
Sure.
To be able to, because I've never seen how great our the Facebook group that we have, how that runs. They don't have a base.
I think you're right on that one. Yeah.
But it's good to, on the flip side of the coin, it's good to have that opposition because you have to keep getting better and better and better.
Well, I'm thinking. Go ahead.
If they're able to successfully replace the Austin In the Weeds group, then what they have successfully done is, created something
more useful, maybe.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, and I look at it like this: like the OG Whole Foods is here. This is the OG In the Weeds. It's going to be hard to get people off of the Facebook group. So they got a hurdle here. You guys,
Yeah.
but you know, in time, people, and especially as the app progresses and goes through updates, and you guys have these meetings and bring, you know, different dynamics and ways to use the app. I'm sure people will hop on there. But yeah, you guys got a challenge in front of you for that one.
Not you guys. It's them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm rooting for them, but they unfortunately had to let go of a lot of us.
Wow.
About half the work, half the team, like the sales team, and
From
because
the pandemic?
yeah.
Oh wow. Wow.
It was super hard time, and basically they were at this crossroads where the community, the product needed improvement on a community side, so they decided to focus on their job side for a while, and I was unfortunately. They had to make the decision to let me go.
Right.
But
well, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that.
I do consult for them, and you know, like I said, root for their success, because their success is our success, in my opinion.
Sure. And then there's always that thing where, like, regardless, Casey will always be like the in the weeds guy forever. That's the thing.
Man, oh my gosh, my friends get a kick out of it when we go out and I'm recognized or whatever. They're like, "You're famous. What the hell?" Like, it's interesting for sure.
Well, man, as soon as we can go out, we all need to meet up. Get some tacos or something.
Yeah, I would love that.
And
I'd love to go to South Austin Beer Garden and get a beer and some barbecue and one of my micheladas.
There we go. I know what I'm ordering next time I'm over there. And we will have Ryan in here from HBQ, I think like maybe the second episode for the month of May. So look forward to that, you know, little
he's a character, man. Yeah. You've met him, so you already know that. But
yeah, I think we had a couple of drinks at 10:30.
Nice. So he's going to be a great guest. I really want to try his pastrami.
I've not tried that.
On Sundays they're doing pastrami, and I want to try it, but I now live far north of the wall.
You know who does a really good pastrami? Kind of like, I guess it'd be halfway between you and the rest of Austin, is Interstellar on Friday.
Dude, yes. I'm so glad you said that. Interstellar is so damn good.
John Bates, he's killing it, man.
It's so good, and that's actually over by my in-laws' house. So
perfect.
Over there at Lake Creek?
Yep. Back when we were kind of venturing out or whatever, we would get Interstellar every so often, and I tried their pastrami sandwich. Oh my gosh! I looked at their Instagram, and their pastrami burnt ends looked so good.
They did the beef rib. They pastramied that for a while. They went back to the brisket, but they were doing that pastrami beef rib. Man, we'd go out there on Fridays and get that thing. Oh
my gosh! Yeah. Oh my gosh!
That's where we need to meet.
We can do that.
Yes, let's do it. That's perfect.
Right on.
Well, hell yeah! Happy Hospitality Day.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
Hospitality Industry Appreciation Day. You deserve it. Give yourself a pat on the back. You're being recognized, and
don't forget, rock out when you clock out.
Yes.
And Casey, we'll get those links from you, and I'm happy we could finally do this.
Yes, it's great.
Me too, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Casey.
Cheers, Casey. As always, thank you to Ranch Rider Spirits, the official beverage of the Austin All Day Podcast, offering the Chilton, Tequila Paloma, Ranch Water, and more to come.
And also, thank you to Rambler, the official hangover cure of the Austin All Day Podcast. Now, you guys enjoy Hospitality Day, and don't forget, ramble on.
Rambler.
Listen.